tonight? Hello everybody and welcome to a haunting in Colorado. Tonight we're taking you to the BrownPalace Hotel in Denver, Colorado. We're going to tell you the history, the mysteries, and show you our investigation. Jumping right into the history, the BrownPalace Hotel was opened August 12th of 1892. Henry Cords Brown was a carpenter from Ohio. He came to Denver in 1860 and turned himself into a real estate entrepreneur. Good for him. He purchased this triangular spot of land where the BrownPalace still stands today. If you ever wonder why the building is shaped like a triangle, that's why. He also wanted to help the city grow. He gave $1,000 to the city to build their state capitol building, and he also founded the city's first library, which is also very haunted. We'll be doing another video for you guys on the library. So let me tell you guys a little bit about what was going on at this time in Colorado. The gold rush was happening. Everyone was traveling to the mountains to be near the mines because that's where all the money was. People would travel from California and also from the east side of the continent as well. They'd travel by stagecoach over huge rocky terrain. It was absolutely awful. They would even tip their stagecoach sometimes, had the whole family in there. It was tight living for a while. There were little stops along the way, little tiny bed and breakfast areas. However, they would share a toothbrush with other travelers and share a washcloth and bath water. It was harsh conditions. The very last stop before you arrive in Denver is where you would get all dolled up and get all fancy, because when you got off that stagecoach in Denver, that was when you were going to make a name for yourself and kind of give off an impression of who you were going to be in this new world. People would be waiting for you to arrive because there weren't that many people there yet at the time, so everyone that arrived was special. A lot of people would stay in a small bed and breakfast when they arrived in Denver. A woman did this out of the kindness of her own heart. She would make them breakfast and dinner. But sometimes Native Americans would come by and wonder what everyone was doing on their land. Rightfully so, they were upset. They would kind of walk up trying to start a fight, and this woman that housed everyone would simply take out her dentures, hold them in the air, and look this Indian straight in the eyes. And the Indians were certain that she was a witch, and they would often flee. The more lavish guests that had money would stay at the BrownPalace Hotel. Many celebrities stayed here. Many presidents have stayed here. The Beatles. They had prized bull showings, and this is where the Denver Broncos were born. Many prohibition raids happened here at the time. This was the party spot in Denver for the rich. There was actually a tunnel that led from the BrownPalace to the buildings across the street, which at the time were gambling places and a brothel. Also, really quick, before you guys go any further, make sure that you hit that subscribe button because we will be putting out videos like this each week in October. You can also follow us on Instagram for creepy facts and updates on our channel at grunge_priestess. No expense was spared in the hotel. $1.6 million was spent, another $400,000 on furniture. They would often have an orchestra playing in the lobby, which you can still hear today. Now it's on a recording unless they're doing a special event. People have reported hearing ghostly orchestras playing as well, though, like when the music isn't playing. Employees have reported this and seeing shadows and orbs throughout the hotel. So one of the most famous ghosts here starts from the story of Isabel Springer. She was a socialite in Denver. She was very rich. She held the most lavish parties. Everyone wanted to go to her parties. She was kind of snobby. She didn't invite Molly Brown to her parties until after she almost died on the Titanic, and she became kind of famous after that. That just shows how snobby she was. She wouldn't invite people that didn't have a good social standing. So she marries this guy Springer, right? And he is extremely rich. He names his ranch and mansion after her. Apparently she got bored. That wasn't enough. She wanted an apartment in the BrownPalace Hotel. So she lived in room 904. That was her other living quarters. She could stay there and party as often as she wanted. She was also having affairs behind Springer's back. One man she was writing letters to, his name was Tony Van Fool. Phul, Fool. Their love letters were so explicit that after everything went down, the papers wanted to share the letters with everybody, but they were way too explicit. They had to extremely clip out like most of the letters, but you can hear parts of them in the book. If you go to the Brown Palace and take the haunting tour, they'll tell you about the book about the Brown Palace, which goes over all of this, and it does have the letters in there. So the letters were very sexual. She was telling Van Fool that she was going to leave Springer for him, making all these promises that seemed pretty far-fetched. And eventually her letters started to get a little strange and demanding. She was kind of telling him, you need to show up here at the Brown Palace on this day. Tony kind of felt like he was being set up, but he loved Isabel, and he really just wanted to see what this was about, why she wanted him to come so badly. A lot of people think she really did set him up. So Isabel and her husband Springer had a throuple. That's right, they had a third kind of boyfriend guy. His name was Frank. And nobody really knows all the details about those three, but we know that Frank cared dearly for Elizabeth as well. So Tony Van Fool shows up at the Brown Palace one night. They're all having a lavish dinner in the lobby. There's orchestra music playing. Many wealthy people are there enjoying their meal. Tony walks in with a disgruntled look on his face when he sees Isabel sitting with her husband and her other lover. And all of a sudden, quarrel begins immediately. Frank, the throuple guy, he pulls a gun out of his pocket, shoots Van Fool as well as two other innocent bystanders. One of the bystanders did die. Another was shot in the leg, and his leg was amputated. Now, people have talked about seeing the ghost of Van Fool and the bystander who died, but oddly enough, the most oftenly seen ghost here is Isabel. She loved the Brown Palace when she was alive, and apparently she still does. The 8th and 9th floors are said to be the most haunted because those were the living quarters of the hotel. But room 904, where Elizabeth stayed, is said to be the most haunted. She also shows up in other areas of the hotel. During the ghost tours, apparently she gets very angry when her story is told, and she will kind of throw things around, make noises, and show herself, and just kind of mess with people. She also has been known to stand at the end of people's beds while they are sleeping and pull the covers off. Stay tuned to the end of this video because we asked her about that with our spirit box, and her reply was very interesting. So also while we were there, I was taking off my makeup. I gently folded the washcloths, hung them over the towel rack so they were like evenly hung up on there. Started to get kind of a weird feeling. I sense things really easily, so I'm generally pretty easily spooked by any sort of feeling like that. But I turn around to dry off my face and grab another towel from that rack where I just hung the washcloths, and right before my eyes, that washcloth I just hung up as well as another one just slid off of the rack, landing on top of the toilet. And it was kind of eerie, like they could have slid off, but it seemed really weird because I was having that weird feeling at the same time. Alright, you guys, we're here at the Brown Palace, and we decided to stay up for the witching hour. It is currently 2:59 a.m. and we wanted to go do a quick walkthrough, just kind of see if we can find anything in the hallways right now. I'm so tired. We had some weird stuff happen in the bathroom like 10 minutes ago. I'll tell you guys about it here in a little bit. It was so weird. Okay. So it seems like a lot of the ghosts here are friendly. Isabel is the ghost that you might have to worry about. But one of the strangest things that I've heard about the Brown Palace, I've never heard this about any other haunted place. People have seen something crawling around under the rug, and no, I'm not talking like a rat or a mouse or something. I'm talking like a human crawling around very quickly underneath the carpet. like you can see the outline of them like through the carpet. They're just crawling around quickly in some of the rooms. And a couple people have said they've seen that, and that really freaks me out. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that freaks me out. So is this hotel a portal? Did that well tap into something? Is it just naturally on a strange plot of land? I know that Colorado has a lot of history with Indian burial sites and other things like that that have been said to cause paranormal activity. So the 8th and 9th floors are supposed to be the most haunted. Right now they are under construction. We did sneak up there through the service elevator. At the time, we had no idea that there's a famous ghost that lives on the service elevator. He's a butler that worked at the BrownPalace for his entire life, and apparently he loves just standing in the service elevator holding a tray as a butler does, and he just likes to continue on the way he lived while his ghost is residing here. So we snuck up there at about 3 a.m. You guys can see us walking around. Unfortunately, our camera cuts out because we ran out of memory on our camera as soon as we got up there. It was kind of weird. It was almost like the service elevator made our camera run out of memory. I know that sounds a little far-fetched, but it was just kind of weird the way it happened. My photographer, Chris, he's the one that went up there on the service elevator. He said it was all kind of torn apart. There were construction tools everywhere, but there was one single door that was left completely untouched, and behind the door everything looked authentic and just kind of how you would expect it to back in the 1800s. We're wondering if maybe this room was Elizabeth's room. Maybe they're leaving that room alone just to keep that old aesthetic, nostalgic feel to it. So my head is bleeding. I have no freaking clue why. It's late at night, you guys. It's 1:24. We're in the BrownPalace Hotel. We're on the 7th floor. Supposedly a lot of the haunts happen on the 8th and 9th floors. They're closed off due to construction. We'd love to sneak up there. We'll see what we can do for you guys, but also our S-Box has quit working tonight, so I just downloaded an S-Box app on my phone. I know it sucks. I really am sad. We spent so much money on our S-Box, and I'm sad it's not working, but we're going to mess around with this. It has an S-Box feature where it does scan the radio and give spirits a chance to chime in by stopping on certain radio stations at certain times. It has an EMF meter, EVP, but I'm also using our little K2 EMF reader. This one is really cool because it also detects cold spots. So right now we're at 75.7 degrees. We just went over to Cheeseman Park, and our temperature dropped from, what was it, 77? 77 down to 69 within a period of 3 minutes, and you're like, well, that's kind of weird. So let's see if we catch anything else with this. I think it's interesting. I'll keep it away from the other devices so it doesn't set off the EMF. But I'll show you guys how close it needs to be to set that off. Watch this. It has to be like right on the device. Even when you take it this far away, see, nothing's happening. So I'll set it right here and it shouldn't have any interference. But we're just going to ask some questions right now. I was in here by myself for a few minutes, and I swear to God, like, I just kept hearing weird shit, and like, something just didn't really feel right, you know? And it's late. Like, I'm getting tired, so I feel like something's gonna scare me. Like, I just know it. Is there anyone here with us tonight? What is your name? You live here? did you die here? So that was a little interesting. So they used to play music in the lobby, you guys, and they have a piano. They had a string quartet. They had I think like some jazzy type like waiting room music. And that's kind of what it just sounded like on here to me. I don't know. We'll play it back and find out. Supposedly, there's a woman that stands at the end of your bed at night, and she introduces herself by pulling the covers off of you. So, I'd like to speak to that woman. Are you present with us tonight? Do you like to pull the covers off of people? How do you feel about the guests of this hotel? Does it annoy you when people try to... Does it annoy you when people try to... Does it annoy you when people try to... They're actual people. And it is... 418. Did you hear that?
Kinda.
418. This is a reminder for me to look this up later. 418. Oh, kind of a creepy noise. So we heard that the activity of this woman who pulls the covers off of people, we heard that activity started when they started doing the ghost tours. Does it upset you that they do the ghost tours? Does it bother you? We didn't catch a lot of noises like that on our S-Box, so it makes me wonder about the legitimacy of this app. But if it really is scanning the radio stations and picking up that weird scratching sound, that's kind of weird. What did that say? Were you murdered here? I heard some man say some type of thing, did you? I'm gonna have to slow that down and figure out what that said.
Okay.
Okay, I heard that too. Okay, so now you want to talk to us a little bit? You want to conversate with us for a minute? Excuse me? Okay. So we're here, we mean no disrespect. But we're just trying to find out what life is like on the other side. I'm trying to get a lot more words now. Exists? Did you hear that?
I heard something, but I didn't really hear much about it.
Does the other side exist, or are you still on our side? Is it true that when you die, you blink out and there's nothing? There's something. Can you see us? Can you help us see you?
I heard
That
messages.
was like in French.
I heard messages.
Messages? Well, can you use these messages on here to try to tell us something? We're going to be sharing this with a lot of people. If you have something to say, we'd love to get it out there for you. It happens so fast, it's hard to decipher. We're going to have to go through the footage and slow it down so we can tell you guys what they're saying. Oh, that was weird. Getting all sorts of weird noises. Apparently people hear scratching and stuff at night here. And we did find, oh, we should show them the little, I'm going to pause this for a minute. I want to show you guys what we found in the wall, because I found it kind of interesting. A lot of people say they hear scratching in the walls or banging. Chris, you can come around. Show them what we found. So we found this in the wall. I set something down and felt it move. And I was like, what the heck? So we found this, and it looks like it kind of connects all of the rooms. So if you were to hear somebody messing around in another room, okay, it would be pretty reasonable to say that you're just hearing someone from another room. However, you guys, tonight, the 8th and 9th floor, the most haunted floors, are closed off due to construction. So if we hear something coming from above, there's no one up there now, by the way. There's no workers here. They weren't even here when we got here. There was somebody leaving. But if we hear something from above us, we know that's some weird shit. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Don't get too scared. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and like this video. We're going to be putting out more videos like this the rest of October. Love you all. Thanks for watching. Bye.